In this video I want to talk about what I did to add Python to Art of Illusion. I'm still not certain that I've got it completely the way it should be, or the way it could be. It turned out to be less straightforward than I anticipated, but I do want to, since I have talked about it some previously, I do want to show how it works. And how I was able to bring it in. We have to have a separate library for the plugin, which is this Jython standalone 2.70 jar. You could also use the Jython jar that if you install the Jython product on your computer. You could also use it from there. But you can download this one by itself without having to install as much. But we do have to have that, and I knew that going into it. And other than that, of course, we have the plugin stuff, which is all these files, and so those are just normal things that you would anticipate. And normally you would just, if you're working on the plugin, you would export those, or you would have it as a jar file that you would just add into the plugins for Art of Illusion. But the problem I ran into is if you add that to the normal, once you add it to the plugin area, and then try to run a script, a Python script, you get these nice little errors down here that it doesn't recognize. Basically, it's telling us that it doesn't recognize the things that we're trying to pull out of that jar file. And so, to get it to work, what I did was I went ahead and I pulled the Art of Illusion code out of the repository, and then I added our jar file for Jython into the libraries for Art of Illusion itself, and then I included that in the build path for Art of Illusion. And so we can in Eclipse we can come over here, configure build path, and you'll notice here that I've got it here in the class path. Now you'll also notice I'm pulling in the Art of Illusion jar from another location, and that is probably not ideal, but it kept me from, I think it's keeping me from messing with any of the changes that are actually in the source code that I've got pulled in. So I think it's running the old version of Art of Illusion, even though it's pulling in, even though we're actually building in a project area that's got the new source code. And definitely that's not the way it should be, but I don't really care about that right now because I'm really just concerned about pulling in the Jython standalone jar. So with that added to the build path, we can get out of this, and then we will run that, and I've got a configuration set up. So here we're we're pointing at the Art of Illusion project, and we're using the Art of Illusion class as the main class here. I passed in some arguments here. I'm not sure if this is required for the standalone, but it was required for the Jython.jar, which is included in the installation area. But this just gets around an error that Jython has. So I went ahead and added that in there. So from here, of course we can run it from here, run it from the outside of here, but when we run this, it should bring up Art of Illusion. Which I'll have to bring down to the display area here. So it's just our normal stuff so far, and then of course you'll see here we've got a couple of extra script menu items, and these just they match what we had for the built-in stuff. Create descripted object and then edit script. So for the Python we have create Python object and edit Python. So I'll bring up this, and so here we see it's the Python language, and as a quick test we'll just do hello world, and for Python to print something to the console, use print and pass it a string. Execute, and you won't see anything just yet. We go over here back to Eclipse and look at the console, and down here at the bottom we have hello world. So now we know that our Python script is working, and that whereas before we saw those errors, by running it with the jar file in the Art of Illusion build path, that actually will use that correctly. I haven't found a way to actually just limit it to the plugin, which is what I'd like to do. There may be a way, but I haven't found it yet, so I'll probably I'll keep looking at that, but for now I just wanted to show you what I did to get it to work, so that if you do bring in the plugin, of course you'll probably have to build it and do all that, pulling it from the repository, but if you do the same thing as what I did here, then it should work. I'll show you another script that I've been working on. If I can bring it up here. This is the one that we saw in another video, but I'll go ahead and open it just to show you that it still works. This just adds a cube to the scene. We'll execute that, and here we have our cube. Nothing spectacular, but it does work, and it is written in Python.